In 2011, the British documentary maker Sean McAllister was arrested in Syria. The footage he'd filmed was confiscated. It showed the lives of a couple and their young children. They were revolutionaries against the Assad regime. The discovery of the footage meant they had to flee Syria. What followed was the breakdown of their marriage, all captured in painful detail in the award-winning documentary A Syrian Love Story. Let's take a look.
9 months without his mum.
9 months, yeah.
I'm dying for the freedom for Syrian people.
Where's Baba?
بالمظاهرات قميوا أنا مامي أنا بدي إياكي تيجي.
I love her more than anyone can love anybody.
He cannot find anybody understand him like me.
What happened in my heart? It's a problem every day.
ماما مسكت الصندوق هربت.
I hate revolution.
You hate revolution.
Yeah. Now I hate it.
Well, the man who made that film, Sean McAllister, joins me now. And Sean, when you first started filming, the Arab Spring hadn't happened. It was a very different country. People were still visiting Syria as a tourist destination. How then did this story unfold?
It sort of unfolded when I met Amma, really. I'd been there for about 8 months before meeting Amma, and I was trying to work out what kind of film I wanted to make in Syria. As you said, it was a different country, and it seemed to be a place that hadn't really had any focus or attention, and that's why I wanted to make a film there. But I think when I met Amma and saw the plight that his plight, it seemed to be more of a powerful story that I should be making, which was the story of how he was trying to look after his 4 boys without the mother, who was incarcerated because of her politics.
And they'd actually met in jail. I mean, their story of how they met is extraordinary. They'd met in jail and they'd come out of jail, and then they'd had this family. And then, as you say, Ragda, the mother, was arrested, and it's down to Amma, the father, to look after his young family. And then you were arrested yourself in Syria, and your footage was confiscated, and the authorities found out that these two had been speaking badly of Assad on film. And then it became untenable for them to stay in Syria. How did that affect your relationship with them? Because as a documentary maker, you're looking in on their story, but you became part of it.
Yeah, they had to flee immediately as soon as I was arrested, and I was, after a week in the prison, and witnessing all of the horrific kind of things that were going on in the prison, daily torture and electrocutions and all sorts of things. I actually sort of realised firsthand what Ragda had gone through in prison, you know. After a week in prison, I was deported, and I met up with them again in Lebanon. And yeah, I felt deeply responsible to then, I suppose, help them try to get to some safety. And it took 18 months before we managed to get them to France.
Right. Let's just take another little look at a clip from your film, which is of one of their sons talking there about how he feels about the struggle in Syria.
Oh my God, show me.
Mr. President Bashar al-Assad, the president of the Syrian Arabian Republic.
What do you think when you see that picture?
I remember my mother. His boys take my mother.
Do you know why they took your mother?
Because she wrote a book about two prisoners love each other.
And who are those prisoners?
Dad and Mom.
Did you like him before?
Yeah.
And now?
No. Not too much.
Does it make you want to leave?
Yeah.
Live somewhere else?
Or fight.
Fight? Fight who?
the government.
And all the while that boy's mother, Ragda, is in prison, you see this intense love story, don't you? Her partner, Amma, so desperate to get her out. They love each other so much. And then when they are finally united and they end up in France, that marriage breaks apart. It's a very difficult question to answer, perhaps, but do you think that had things been different in Syria, that marriage would have survived?
I think possibly. I mean, I think what I discovered was that the divorce rate amongst refugees is very high, apparently over 50% of people that end up, because of what they go through, you know. I mean, it's, apart from what she'd witnessed in prison, what the psychological damage that she'd suffered in prison, you know, they'd moved house 16 times in the making of my film. Mm. You know, they say in the West, if you move house once, it's the most stressful thing you do. Imagine doing it 16 times in a war zone.
Of course, yeah, gosh. And we saw there one of their children. They have 4 children, all of them suffering in their own way because of everything they're going through. What would you like audiences to take away from seeing this film?
I don't know, really. I think the news only allows you a glimpse, really, of what we see as what we call a refugee, which is often, you know, some little poor boy washed up on the seashore. It's sometimes difficult to connect with them. I think what a documentary can do is characterise the news. You have the beauty of living with a family over 5 years that has given the intimate access, risked quite a lot in allowing a camera to be a part of their lives. I think what we can take away from it is humanity and remember that all of the other characters and the people that we see in the news are exactly like this family. They're human beings that live, love and cry just like we do.
Well, this film's getting its premiere in Turkey on Thursday. You're going to be there at the Frontline Club in Istanbul.
With Ragda.
Okay.
With Ragda from the film. Big Right.
Okay. Well, it's a real treat of a film, and thank you so much, McAllister, for coming on to talk about it.
Thank you.